Hi, and welcome to this B1UP tips and tricks session. Today we'll look at how to create multi-buttons. So let's jump into business one. And in here I will, on sales order, create some function buttons. This is the normal old system, and I will create a few buttons. Button 1, button 2, button 3, and button 4. And we could give them different features like quotation, order, turn, invoice, and so on. And we will probably give them the descriptive names, of course, but just for sake of argument, we can see the buttons. But you could end up with so many features putting into buttons that they begin to fill out the entire field here. It might be confusing to look at so many buttons, not grouping them or anything. So what you can do instead is we can actually go in and do what is called multi-buttons. So let's do a multi-button here. And our multi-buttons is sales docs, and we want to have the same features. We want to have quotation, order we don't need here because we are on there, delivery, invoice, and credit notes. So let's put in those. They have exactly the same features as the normal buttons with universal functions as well if need be. Delivery, invoice, and credit notes. So we have this button, and we will get rid of these other buttons here. There we go. So let's launch sales order again, and we can now see we only have one button, and that button have the different features under it. So when we press a quotation, it will prepare a quotation. If we press delivery, it will prepare delivery. And notice that the name, the caption here, is not used anywhere because the multi-button will take over. It will use the first selection in there as the name, and it will remember. So you don't need to press this every time. If you just want to go to delivery, you can press directly on the button. So that is how you make this. Of course, you can make a button more that is not a multi-button and add more multi-buttons and so on. So you can mix and match the two. Let's get rid of this. And as a side tip here, let's move this button, because you can move buttons. I will have another tips and tricks session on that, but moving multi-buttons is a bit different in that you need to right click and say edit item placement tool configuration, and that's because we can't right click on a button like that. So what we need to do is we need to get the ID of the button, put it in here. This is the multi-button. Let's place it right of item 2, which is the cancel button with some spacing, and let's make the button 100 pixels wide. So if we do that, you can see the button move down here, and when we open, it's not taking up the space. And in order to get rid of that space over here, you simply right click and say add function buttons onto the screen and take the button width to be -1. And in that way, we end up with a screen that looks like this, where the buttons don't take up that much space, either as on the side, because you have many buttons and many sections, or if you just want it next down to the cancel button or any other place on the screen, so you have a more concise setup. And it works exactly the same as before. So with that, Thank you for attending this session, and I hope it was beneficial.